Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kondagele Sompondo. I'll be your program director tonight. Before we start the formal part of the program, may I please ask you to rise for the national anthem of the Republic of South Africa. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, SPU Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are assembled tonight to celebrate yet another milestone in the history of this young university of ours, the official opening of a sports precinct of Plaatje University. We have quite a number of dignitaries amongst us, but I'm not going to mention all of them by name because we have someone in the program that's going to do the official opening. But before I do that, I just want to do a quick induction for everyone who's here, just to indicate that at the back on my left we have ladies bathrooms. On the right we have gentlemen bathrooms, but there's also some along the quad for both gents and ladies. The important thing that I want to highlight is that this program is three-pronged. We have the formal program that we hope is going to be very quick here, and the second part of it is an unveiling of the plaque, which is at the gate, and the third part of it will be the tour of the precinct, really the real reason why you're here. But before we do that, we will also show you the precinct on the screens before the keynote address by our Vice-Chancellor tonight. As indicated that amongst us we have very important people that I want to acknowledge, is some council members of the university. Our Vice-Chancellor, Prof Andrew Crouch, and his lovely wife are here tonight. Senior management of Plaatje University. I also have the team from the National Lotteries Commission led by National Commissioner, Ms. Jody Scholes. We also have dignitaries from government, the MEC for Sports, Arts and Culture in the province, the Mayor of Pixley Kaseme District Municipality and the Mayor of Francis Bar District Municipality. And we also have representatives of the funders and partners of Plaatje University and the critical members of the sport federations in the Northern Cape are here. We've got the president of Northern Cape Athletics Federation also here. And we also have our SRC, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the people that are going to benefit from this. And ladies and gentlemen, all of you are acknowledged. But to do a thorough welcoming of all of you, please help me welcome our Dean of Students, Ms. Nicole Morris. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Konakele Sompondo. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure, and it indeed, I feel humbled. I've got goosebumps. It's a teary moment, so forgive me. But standing here today, I'm truly humbled to officially open and welcome you to our sports precinct. Now, the program director has acknowledged, but I too will acknowledge our dignitaries and our special guests who I'd like to extend my gratitude to for making time this afternoon to spend this afternoon with us. Our Vice-Chancellor and Principal, Professor Andrew Crouch, his wife, Mrs. Crouch, Ms. Jody Scholz, the Commissioner of the National Lotteries Commission, Desiree Finnis, MEC of Sports, Arts and Culture in absentia, Unondumiso Buddha, Mayor, FB District Municipality, Untufitse Itumeleng, Mayor of Pixley Kaseme District Municipality, Samuel Nkwensha, Speaker of Z, FM District Municipality, members of the senior management team of the National Lotteries Commission present here this afternoon, members of the Plaatje Student Representative Council, as well as colleagues from the Academy and support staff present, National Lotteries Commission project funders, SBU donors and funders, sporting federations, and all our partners and stakeholders within the Northern Cape, welcome. Today is an historic day at Plaatje University. The launch of the sports precinct, like I said, gives me goosebumps because it signifies the beginning of a new era at Plaatje University. As we position ourselves as a university of choice when it speaks to sporting excellence, we're proud to announce that we are the only institution in the Northern Cape to have achieved such great feat. The sporting precinct, which will be unveiled today by our Vice-Chancellor and Principal, Professor Andrew Crouch, is the only sporting precinct in the province. As we now endeavor to attract the best sporting talent throughout the country, our hope is that the newly launched sports precinct will enhance sporting success at our university in allowing our students, as well as students in the greater province, the profound opportunity to engage in sporting activities both recreationally and competitively. With the Northern Cape being the largest province in the Republic of South Africa, the province has made significant strides in producing top sporting talent in our country over the past few years. Through the use of this sport precinct, Plaatje University aims to integrate our community in enhancing opportunity access towards various sporting codes and potentially careers in this ambit. With the well-being of both students and citizens of the province at the center of our operations at the university, the precinct provides a strategic opportunity in enhancing the acquisition and building of sporting talent accordingly. This precinct promises a rejuvenated sense of pride for our community in contributing richly to the well-being and economic rejuvenation of our province. We certainly hope that emanating from this exercise and launch this afternoon, that a sense of national pride and identity will emanate from the sporting talent that this sporting precinct will churn out. The Plaatje University is committed, yes, our university is committed, to ensuring the success of its pursuit towards sporting excellence both provincially, nationally, and one day globally. By aligning to the university's strategic goal 5 in incorporating community engagement as a scholarly activity, the university hopes to ensure a collaborative approach with our surrounding communities in building a reputable sporting culture within our province. Through collaborations and you, yes you, our partners, the university and the province promises to see a heightened sports participation through the use of this one-of-a-kind sporting precinct. We definitely hope that this space also contributes to the much-needed economic rejuvenation and revitalization of the city in boosting not only tourism, but also increasing our revenue for our local businesses. The sporting precinct will assist extensively in developing the requisite talent needed in propelling the ethos of sporting excellence in our university and through collaborative efforts with our sporting fraternities and federations who are present here this afternoon. And thank you once again for making time. I would like to thank you all formally who've made time this afternoon once again, and I sincerely hope that today's proceedings foster a renewed hope in building sporting talent and enhancing sporting excellence at our university. I wish you all a wonderful afternoon this afternoon. Take pictures, post, tweet. Yes, when you leave, tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell those that you meet along the way that you were here and you witnessed this come together. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Ms. Morris, for those wonderful and kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, before I hand over the floor for our keynote address, I would like you to just sit back and enjoy the melodic music that will be rendered by Amandla Dancer Group. Please, let's put our hands together for Amandla Dance Group. And now to give us our keynote address of the day. Born in Kimberley to Jacob and Louisa Crouch, and an alumnus of William Prescott High School in Kimberley, the son of Ned and Cape has returned to his roots to take the helm at Plaatje University in April 2020. Since then, he has spearheaded several inaugural initiatives related to his 5-point focus plan on taking forward Plaatje University into the next phase of its development. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I invite our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Andrew Crouch, to give us our keynote address.
Thank you, Program Director, and thank you to Ms. Morris for welcoming our guests, but I'm afraid I have to, as Vice-Chancellor, do another welcome all over again. It is indeed a pleasure for me to welcome our special guest here today, Ms. Judy Scholes, sitting in front here, Commissioner of the National Lottery Commission, our MEC of Sport, Arts and Culture in absence, Ms. Finis, the Mayor of Francis Bart Municipality, the Mayor of the Pixie Kaseme District Municipality, and the Speaker of the ZFM District, as well as in the absence, Ms. Mpumi Zikalala, who is the CEO of Kumba. My colleagues from the Council who are here present, or if they are watching us online, other special guests, our senior management team, management forum members, our students here present, as well as those that are logged in. I know a lot has been said already about Plaatje University and the importance of this launch for us as a university. But I think I need to reiterate that this launch and this sports precinct is part of a bigger vision that we have as a university that has a vision of being anchored in a social justice project. I think right at the outset of the inception of this university, when it was started, and I was fortunate to be present at the inauguration of the university I think it was 2013, and the university formally started and took its first students in 2014. Right at the outset, this university positioned itself to make a contribution to the peoples of Kimberley, the Northern Cape, and South Africa at large. So for us, community engagement, as the Dean has said, is part of our strategic goals, and I asked for it to be included in 2020 when I arrived here, because at that stage, the university had 4 goals as part of its 5-year strategic plan, which started in 2020. So, for me, this launch signifies a very, very important moment in that engagement. Because by the mere fact that you are here as partners tonight, tells me that we are making strides in this goal of community engagement. It's also important for us that partners and partnerships are going to carry us forward in this goal to engage with the community. And that is why partners in the sports arena is so important. I would like to thank the National Lotteries Commission for being one of the partners in this quest that we have as a university. To be socially relevant and to be socially involved. Now, we're using sport here as an example of a partnership, because sport is deeply embedded in all social aspects of South Africa and goes much deeper than just watching sports. We know that sport is there to unite people, it's to entertain people, and it's to create opportunities for people throughout this country who would not have had those opportunities otherwise. I don't know if any of you are still young enough to remember the 2010 World Cup. I certainly remember it, the excitements, and I say young enough because I think it's already, 13 years ago. But who remembers the hype, the unity that that event brought to the country? Who of you remember the national rugby team winning their first World Cup? Who of you remember our women's soccer team who won the African Cup of Nations? And I think there's one representative here, I don't know, maybe she can just put up a hand, who was involved in that team, and we're fortunate to have her in the room. But sport is not just about those big events that we all rave about and we all get excited about, and we watch on a Saturday, etc., bringing communities together, bringing the arguments to a point around a beverage. But sport is also there, also about the small Saturday school events, the school events that you take your children to. It's also about the Sunday community events, the soccer teams that play on a Sunday, the netball teams that play on the Sunday, that odd hockey match or that odd cricket match that take place on a Sunday or Saturday. So these activities are there to contribute towards togetherness and towards the resilience of our society. So this is why this precinct is so important and have such significance. It's indeed a momentous occasion for us as a university to be able to be in a position tonight to launch this sports precinct. Because when I arrived in 2020, the building project has been held up, or was held up, and it was almost 9 to 10 months behind schedule. Now, if you recall, 2020 was a quite significant year in the history of the world because we had an event called COVID. It is still with us, so be very careful and take the necessary precautions. But we were in the midst of a pandemic. But we did not allow that pandemic to stop us from achieving what we wanted to do. And it's during this time of the pandemic that we managed to catch up on those lost time, and we managed to deliver the completion of this sports precinct by the end of last year, wrapping up what people refer to as the snags in this last few months. The main sports facilities here are almost complete, but there is still an additional infrastructure build that must take place, which will start in May of this year with the addition of 200 more beds that will be built. I think it's on the western side of this precinct. This precinct and the sports facility is integrated, and you will have an opportunity as an audience to take a tour around, and please ask the questions. But why is sport so important for us as a university? Apart from the togetherness and building the resilience, we as universities have ambitions. We know that sport plays an important role in what we refer to as the third curriculum for students. That's the curriculum, and that's the learning process, and that is the interaction, and those are the communities of practice that we have outside of the formal classroom. The fact that this is an integrated facility where we have student residences as well as a number of sports facilities in close proximity to each other will allow a seamless integration of the academic curriculum and the third curriculum, where students can seamlessly move from the classroom onto the sports field without much effort. We have ambitions as a university to excel in sport. We want to prioritize talented sportspersons and athletes who wish to study here at Plaatje University, because that will contribute towards the development not only of their own persons as individuals, but it will also contribute to the development of sport, and particularly selected sports codes here at Plaatje University. So this year, 2023, the university will be rolling out its sports strategy. And part of that sports strategy is to increase, firstly, the body of knowledge through sports in a scholarly way. We know that we are a university. We need to make a contribution to knowledge generation. And we've always said that community interaction must be such that it must also be a scholarly activity. So that's one of our goals. Our second goal is to provide quality sports programs that produce sporting excellence and holistic development. Because it's all about developing the human being, and that is why I refer to the third curriculum as an addition or an integration into the academic curriculum. We have a dream to also create a high-performance sports center as a facility for not only the peoples of Kimberley, but for the Northern Cape at large. In that respect, we want to increase the number of competitive athletes who achieve academic success. I'm of the view that you come to university not to just earn a degree, but to earn an education. And part of earning that education is to make sure that you must get involved in as many activities that will contribute towards the molding of your personality and the molding of those talents and skills which you will need to become a productive citizen of this country. So these modern and compliant sports facilities that we will see later on should contribute towards that. So in that respect, and in tandem with this launch of the sports precinct today on the South Campus, I'm also announcing that on Wednesday next week, I will be taking a proposal to our University Council for the establishment of a number of sports bursaries so that we can in fact fund our sports persons that would like to come and study at Plaatje University. Of course, they have to meet the academic criteria first before they can actually be funded. So, hopefully, the creation of that avenue will allow us to focus on specific sports codes, and we have identified 4 or 5, which we will initially fund, but it does not mean that we have forgotten about all the other sports codes that we have on campus. The fact that we have now the state-of-the-art facilities in a number of sports codes, soccer, netball, hockey, cricket, and rugby, to name a few, has in fact enhanced our ability to make these facilities available, not only to our sports people at the university, but also to the community at large, within the broader Kimberley, the Northern Cape, and South Africa at large. Now, the university have been performing satisfactorily in sports, in several sports codes, but we have the potential to be more visible in a number of others, specifically not only on the local stage here, but also, I don't mean this stage, but the local stage in Kimberley, but also in the Northern Cape and South Africa at large, especially in the codes which I have mentioned. We find that the young people from the Northern Cape are poached by our neighboring institutions, the institutions that have a long pedigree and history of excelling in sport, and the youth of the Northern Cape is then lost forever from this province. So it's almost like a brain drain that has an exodus in this province, and we want to arrest that and, if possible, reverse that. Since the development of the sports precinct and our association with the Griqualand West Stadium, with the Griqualand West Union, through our purchase of the Griqualand West Stadium, which is, I think, just behind me on this side, we now have generated a lot of interest in the Northern Cape. And hence my earlier comment that we have ambitions to develop high-performance sport and eventually become a node for sports development in the Northern Cape. And I think it's in line with what's happening in other parts of the country, where universities have become a center of excellence for sports and sometimes drive the national narrative in those specific sports codes. And I can mention one or two if you are interested. Now, through this, it will bring prestige and recognition, not only to the university, but will add tremendous value to us as a center, where one can earn a degree, as well as a well-rounded extracurricular experience. So this sports precinct would significantly strengthen our ability to compete on the national stage, as I've said, for in the various sports codes. Now, it is also important to note that we cannot do this alone. And I mentioned partnerships in the beginning. I said that partnerships are important. Partnerships between the various clubs and societies at Plaatje University. Partnerships with our communities outside of Plaatje University, the schools, and I note the presence of one of our local principals here in the audience. Clubs in the broader Kimberley and Northern Cape environment, federations, and I have already been approached by the national federations to see if we can sign memoranda of agreements and understanding. The provincial government, the tourism industry, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, just to name a few of the partners which have already shown interest in partnering with Plaatje University as a possible locus to advance sport. We know that through doing this, we involve the community. And we know that communities that participate in sport and recreation develop strong social bonds. We know that, I mentioned at the beginning, about the casual weekend sports. And we know that communities form a bond through that. Because sport and recreation are safe spaces for people to operate around. We know that apart from the normal shenanigans that take place around a soccer team during the spectators, we know it's time for people to let down their hair and to relax. But it's also an opportunity to take the youth off the streets, out of those activities which communities do not find to be the norm. And sports play an important role and can be a catalyst for us to accelerate what I call non-involvement in such activities. So we know that communities that participate in sport are generally healthier, they are generally happier, and people that are involved in physical activity are generally also healthier, and they have a better quality of life. So this facility on the South Campus of Plaatje University will add to the numerous sports facilities which we have in Kimberley. But it's certainly, in my view, the first precinct that consolidates student residences, state-of-the-art infrastructure in rugby, soccer, cricket, hockey, netball, volleyball, outdoor gyms, and so forth and so forth. In my view, it's one of the few precincts that have a mix of communities of living as well as sports facilities. And in that respect, it's unique. It's also, in my view, one of the better facilities which we have in the Northern Cape at this point in time. And with partners like you sitting in the room, we will ensure that it is maintained at the high standards that we have set for ourselves. Because one of the things I have found when I came back to the Northern Cape, I actually never left, but I came back in physically, was that we have a lot of sports facilities, not only in the Northern Cape, but across the country. But many of these facilities are not well maintained. They are not well maintained, and therefore our sports persons cannot reach their full potential. So, as long as I'm Vice-Chancellor of this institution, I commit that these facilities will be maintained at the high standards which you will see when you actually do the tour. This facility allows us to host events with the various partners, and I can just mention one or two. We last year hosted the National University Sevens Rugby Tournament, and by all accounts I was told that it was such a successful event that they are coming back this year. And they will be coming back next year also. So, so we will be hosting the Sevens again, and in about a month's time from now, we will also be hosting the soccer component of the Wilde Klaver tournament on our soccer fields here as part of the overall Wilde Klaver tournament, which happens normally between, I think it's Kimberley Boys High and another school in the Kimberley area. We also hope that we would have regular league games here. Somebody suggested that we try and host a Soweto derby here. I said to them no. We do not have enough seating for that, but I'm sure we would be able to host it if we build a bigger stadium. I think the Griqualand West Rugby Stadium can have about 25,000 spectators, and I'm sure that's not enough if we want to host the whole country. So, by that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also implying that this facility will be available for other major events that are planned in Kimberley and the Northern Cape in the future. And obviously, at a small fee, which you can negotiate with Mr. Farmer, our Director of Property Development. So, with that, I'd like to thank our partners who've assisted us, the National Lottery Commission. I would like to thank our students who are here and who have also pushed for this the completion of this precinct. I'd like to thank the organizers, Mr. Kwandekele Sampondo and his team. I'd like to thank the people who have made this all possible, because without you, nothing such as this will in fact be possible. So with those few words, I'd like to once again thank you all for making yourselves available on this Friday afternoon. And I do promise you that this is history in the making. So you'll be entered into the annals of history one day when the history of Plaatje University is written. And I intend to write a book after I finish my term. I will include some of the pictures that will be taken here today. So you might find your picture in a book and be part of the history and the annals of SAID, because we are indeed making history today. It's a momentous occasion, a historic event for Kimberley, and the Northern Cape, and more importantly, for Plaatje University. So thank you very much.
Another big round of applause for our Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen. Before the next speaker, I would like to ask you to sit back and locate one of the 4 monitors around for you to see this precinct that VC is raving about. And maybe after that, you would also be able to rave more based on what you've seen for yourself. Can we play the video?
In the heart of Kimberley, a unique facility is taking shape. A first of its kind in the Northern Cape province. A source of great pride for all its people. As the Northern Cape's very first public university, Plaatje University has injected new life and purpose into an entire region. Now with the development of state-of-the-art sporting facilities, it is taking its inspiring mission of community involvement one step further. The Plaatje University Sport Precinct features diverse world-class facilities. It includes a hockey astroturf with practice field, netball, tennis, basketball and volleyball courts, a dual-purpose rugby and soccer stadium, plus dual-purpose football and cricket fields, a CrossFit gym, cricket nets and exercise space, and many more state-of-the-art sport and recreation resources. A sports pavilion that overlooks the soccer fields and volleyball courts houses change rooms, a sports store, a tuck shop and eating areas, as well as recreation and lounge areas, offices and meeting rooms. A second sports pavilion overlooks the hockey fields and multi-purpose hard courts. Its diverse facilities include a first aid room and a commentator's box. The precinct also incorporates various other multifunctional buildings. The multi-purpose community hall is an existing building that was refurbished and renovated into a multi-purpose hall. It can serve as an auditorium for graduations, large lectures, or even theatre productions. The staff recreation facility houses administrative and academic staff and features conference facilities, lounges, offices and a dining hall. The Eco Centre consists of a recycling area, maintenance yard, workshops and storage facilities. Modern student residences provide accommodation for over 700 students, with an additional 6 wardens' apartments and 8 seminar rooms. The Bulk Services Building houses water storage and treatment equipment, pump rooms, and IT and electrical infrastructure. The Plaatje Sport Precinct opens up vast opportunities for all its staff and students, in particular its talented athletes in various sporting codes. But it also represents a sporting and recreational lifeline for the wider community. The university has made the precinct available to the public and for local professional teams like Griquas Rugby and the Hungry Lions Football Club. It promises an exceptional visitor experience to sportsmen and women and spectators of all ages. The Plaatje Sport Precinct, a true beacon of hope for the entire Northern Cape.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And now to give us an address from the funders with over 20 years experience in the public sector, Ms. Colts is a tried and tested leader who served as the Chief Operating Officer at the Department of Trade and Industry, where she was driving innovation and ensuring meaningful compliance with legislation. Most recently, she led the administration of the South African Bureau of Standards, where she spearheaded the development and implementation of a turnaround strategy with a focus on cost reduction. Currently, she is the National Commissioner of the National Lotteries Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ms. Jody Scott to the stage.
Regulating lotteries and funding for impact since 1999. The National Lotteries Commission is empowering communities today for a better future. The NLC has distributed over 25 billion to good causes. We are changing lives.
Professor Crouch, councillors from the university, senior management from the university, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Prof, you're going to have to excuse me. I've had to resort to Wikipedia. I know this is not de rigueur in any academic institution by any means, but any online search will tell you that the Northern Cape is the largest province in the country in terms of land mass, and it's also the most sparsely populated, a polar opposite to many of the provinces within South Africa. We also know that the Plaatje University is the only university in the province. And for those history buffs in the room, you will share with me in understanding the significance and the impact that a large tertiary institution, and one with this size and facilities, can have in terms of economic development, growth, and of course, education. Prof Crouch has mentioned that universities often mark themselves with a number of metrics. One of the big areas of focus is increasing the number of competitive athletes in the university. Others include academic programs and ranking, research capabilities. These are the draw cards that bring students and grants knocking, and these are the programs that put institutions on the map. Vice-Chancellor, I think we are very proud to partner with you because our focus at the National Lotteries Commission is on funding to ensure impact and a lasting impact. Unfortunately, I think the National Lotteries Commission has been in the news for too many of the wrong reasons lately. This is changing. When you look at a facility of this magnitude, you understand the importance of targeted funding for community upliftment and development, something that our country desperately needs. Investment in infrastructure and education are sound macroeconomic variables that yield dividends. Good infrastructure is the best foundation, and education is a tool to fight poverty and inequality in the long term. It is one of the great equalizers. The Lotteries Commission funding for infrastructure projects is intended to equip people like yourselves in the room with platforms and tools to maximize your potential. We are well aware that for Plaatje University to make its mark in South Africa and globally, it has to be competitive. And we trust that the sporting precinct is one of the ways to achieve that. Vice-Chancellor, your own projections show that you anticipate enrolling more than 7,000 students by 2024. And we believe that this precinct will assist you to attract these students beyond the borders of the Northern Cape, making this the leading South African institution, not only nationally, but also on the continent. Now for a bit of an ad break. I would not be doing justice if I assume that everybody here knows exactly how the National Lotteries Commission's contributions came about. At the NLC, we regulate the South African lotteries and sports pools, and from these regulatory activities, we collect revenue which we then use to distribute to good causes. So each year we distribute about R1 billion, give or take, and depending how many of you are actually leaving here tonight and going to go and buy some Powerball tickets. So, firstly, we are a regulator. So we regulate the National Lottery, and we do this in compliance with the Act. And of course, everybody knows Ituba as the National Lottery operator. But out of this, we also ensure that participants are protected, and particularly underage participants, because we have to ensure that draws are fair and that winners receive their full money. So regulation is the one source where we get our revenue, and that brings us to our second mandate, and I think that's probably the more exciting one. It's about grant funding. So from the sale of each lottery ticket, a portion comes to the National Lotteries Distribution Trust Fund, and we are then able to distribute this in accordance with legislative guidelines into qualifying organizations that work for the public good. So Powerball is up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. I think the program is due to conclude fairly shortly, and I'm reminding you of this so that each time you buy your ticket, a portion then gets distributed to good causes. So while this seems like a small amount, given the number of lottery players in the country, where millions of South Africans actually go and buy tickets, it enables us to build what you see before you here today. We've got 4 various sectors that we play in. These are charity, looking at the development of arts, culture, and national heritage, the development of sports and recreation, which also contributes to promoting social cohesion, and lastly, miscellaneous. So these are any other initiatives backed by research that we feel could make a lasting impact. So even if you don't win the jackpot tonight, please know that your contribution is definitely having a lasting impact. Unemployment and poverty remain a threat to our prosperity, and the answer lies in each of us finding solutions to build the South Africa that we want. A wise man once told me that you get the country that you work for. And so this evening I would like to commend Prof Crouch and his management team for working to build the country that they want. While we see the Northern Cape at face value as being an arid province, it's rich in history, culture, natural attractions. Prof has mentioned huge tourism potential. And with all of you in the room offering so much, I think we are very pleased to have made a small contribution to add to this list. So in conclusion, I would like to thank the National Lotteries team and the acting COO, Mr. Sanele Damini, Mr. Clive Moses, the project manager at our office here in the Northern Cape, and the team who've worked tirelessly to make sure that everything is compliant, things are in order, and so that we can get to showcase this amazing facility. So on behalf of the board and Professor, the chairperson of the Lotteries Commission has tendered his apologies. All of us as the management team, we really do wish you well, and we look forward to seeing how these facilities can actually enhance life at the university and the community around it. I thank you.
Another big round of applause for Ms. Coles, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We are now getting closer to the end of the first part. I am now going to call the Chief Operating Officer of the university, but before I call him to the podium, I just want to make a couple of announcements. There are games that are being played around. On the main pavilion, we've got SPU staff. They're playing football match there. We've got SPU student female team playing on the other side. We've got high school, Tsireletso High School, Emamogo High School. On the hockey field, we've got SPU hockey male team playing. On the tennis court, we've got Diamond Aces and Plaatje Municipality Tennis Club. On the basketball pitch, courts, we have SPU basketball team playing against Corens, and we also have SPU female basketball team plays against Celestials. So these are all games that are happening around, and I'm sure you will see all of them when you go out for the tour. What will happen right now, Mr. Kangue will give direction in terms of the next part, and he will close this formal section and give instruction on the next part, which will be the unveiling. But then after that, we want to ask everyone to come back here to the main hall for the dinner, and then drinks are arranged at the sport pavilion. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call to the podium our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. David Kangue, to close this part of the session.
Thank you, Program Director, Mr. Sompondo, Vice-Chancellor, Commissioner Scholz, members of Council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am very excited to be standing here because for once in my life, I'm the bearer of good news. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to proceed to the main entrance where the unveiling of the memorial plaque or memorial tablet will take place. We are going to be led by the Vice-Chancellor of the University and Ms. Jody Scholz from the Lottery and all the dignitaries from the Lottery. They will be doing the opening for us. You are all requested to follow suit. I will not announce what's going to happen after that. I will announce it there because I want all of you to be there. So please follow the Vice-Chancellor as well as the dignitaries from the Lottery Commission. Thank you.
Lotteries Board joint VC as well. Thank you.
Now to the last part of the evening, colleagues. I hope you are wearing your tekkies. We're going to see the precinct. Miss Maureen, our project director, and myself will walk you through. What you're going to see is what you already saw in the videos, but now you're going to see it physically. We're going to take a walk and we will guide you through. Please follow us. Thank you.